more rapid than eagles, his course should they came. And he whistled and shouted and called them by name. On Dancer, on Prancer, on Shouter and Blinson, on maybe I may have already named all the guys.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Thursday, December 24th. Happy holidays to you and yours. I'm J.E. Skeets, and alongside me, as always, we got Tass Mellis.
Hey, everybody.
We got young Santa himself, Trey Kirby.
Hey, yo.
The international man of mystery, taking it to the max, looking like a cute little elf this morning, Lee Ellis.
Fred.
And last but not least, making the magic happen is JD.
Hello.
There he is. And here we are. Shout out to the stream team. If you're joining us right now on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends. We posted yesterday after the Daily Show our Christmas bars. So those are now up on YouTube too. If you didn't catch yesterday's show, Merry Xmas to your mom, Young Santa featuring Reindeer Freak. It's up there. And the Abstinent Elves diss track, No Touching. Both of those bangers now available on YouTube. So go check those out if you haven't already. Email us your NBA questions and comments to nodunks@theathletic.com. We'll be stepping on the beach later next week. Go grab your No Dunks merchandise at nodunks.com. And if you're still looking for a last-minute gift, give someone the best sports coverage in the world. Go to theathletic.com/nodunks and buy someone an athletic subscription. I think they still got the BOGO going on, the buy one, gift one. So go check that out. We're going to have an action-packed show here on Christmas Eve. We're going to do our best to touch on as many games from Wednesday's action-packed schedule. But listen, all right, right from the jump, we're not going to get to everything, okay? So if we don't talk about your favorite team, tough shit.
I think we will.
Well, we might, but we may not.
Going,
okay? We may
24
not.
teams, no problem. If there was 26 teams.
Well, yes. Thank you, James Harden and the Rockets. Yeah, we'll get to that. But I'm just saying, it's a long season. We record, 5 or 6 podcasts a week. If we don't get to your team or your game from last night, we eventually will. Trust me on that. Yeah. We got Harden and the Rockets, that game being postponed with the Thunder to talk about. We'll get into that. We got another holiday tradition with the show. It's the top 5 gifts from the Hammacher Schlemmer catalog. Yes, we will finally slip that in. We got tweet of the night, and we'll have our pick 'em results and looking ahead to the Christmas Day schedule. But let's start with the look back to last night. Only 12 games, which made it a little easier. First impressions, though. Tass, my first question for you, we'll go around the horn here, but best debut, who are you giving that to from, again, those 12 games on Wednesday night?
Well, I want to start with the nationally televised game, the TNT game, Bucks-Celtics first, because the Bucks had a nice comeback at the end. Mm-hmm. Drew Holiday, their new guy, hits a big step-back three. What looks like the game winner to me with a minute left. It seems like they're going to win this game. The guy that they picked up hit the shot that they absolutely need him to make. In the playoffs last year, in the second round, things were just dead at the end of fourth quarters for the Milwaukee Bucks. Who's going to take this shot? Well, it ended up in Drew Holiday's hands. A mean step back three gives him 25 points. Seems like that's the game winner until Jason Tatum hits a ridiculous sidestep bank three to win the game over Giannis Antetokounmpo's hand that played great defense. And then Giannis can't tie the game at the free throw line at the other end, which was a terrible call. But what I want to know, Drew Holiday, a great performance there. That would have probably led for us, or for me, for the best debut. But Jason Tatum takes that all away with that shot that no one is questioning whether or not it was intended. Nobody. Maybe because Jason Tatum walked away and said, yeah, it looked like he did it on purpose. But my question for you guys is, did he do it on purpose?
Nobody was questioning it because there's no way he did it on purpose.
Oh, okay.
That's a great miss that goes in, but that was awesome. And like you're saying, Tass, you just got to celebrate like it was on purpose. You walk back all tough. Hell yeah, I meant to miss that shot by 6 feet to the left and up. It went in.
Yeah, it was above the box. That's where it hit.
Yeah,
and it went in. It was a crazy. He acted like he practices that thing.
Yeah, well, that's good acting by him. No one, when they bank in a three, is meaning to bank in a three. No one, not even Tim Duncan, if he was in today's game and he was stepping out to hit more threes, would mean to bank home threes.
Well, maybe he realized Giannis's hand was there on the right side. Maybe he had to go that extra 5 feet up to get it home.
Oh, he put the arc on it for sure, and that's why it banked in. Otherwise, I mean, if that's flat, it's not. It's going to hit that rim and fire off, ricochet off. Yeah, that's a hell of a shot. That was a great game. Turned into a really entertaining game because it was looking like a blowout with the Celtics up pretty big. But like you said, Tass, the Bucks comeback. So you liked, though, what you saw, despite the loss, from Drew Holiday sort of being clutch in a fourth quarter comeback there.
It was exactly what they needed. They needed a guy who can just make shots, have the ball in his hand, create something. I was a little bit concerned with the way the Celtics were just kind of strolling to the rim, especially when Brook Lopez was off the floor. Now this is sort of going deep into the Bucks rotation, but Bobby Portis is their backup center now. And it's like Stan Van Gundy always said, it's not the guy who leaves, who is subbed in for, but the guy who has to sub in for that guy. So Robin Lopez leaves as the backup center. I didn't even explain that well. But anyways, Robin Lopez leaves and Bobby Portis comes in as the backup center. And now he's just kind of lost out there. So, we always talk about the Bucks defense and how great it is. I just wanted that backup center spot if they're going to figure out a way to shore it up, because Robin Lopez wasn't great on the offensive end, but you just knew he was going to be around the rim.
You're talking about Brook Lopez.
No, Robin Lopez is the backup center.
Oh, you're talking about,
we got Lopez's all over the place.
You got me all confused there. Yeah, okay, I know. Sorry.
Brook's still the center. The Celtics scored a lot of points when Bobby Portis was in playing backup center for them last night.
Right.
Robin Lopez left this offseason. I was just wondering what happens there, because it didn't look good. And that's where they scored a S-ton of points.
Okay, so Drew Holiday, a good debut. Yeah, despite the loss. Tatum going bank. Called game. Paul Pierce, I mean, that is a pretty good quote. I'll give him that. I'm not the biggest Paul Pierce fan, but I didn't call bank, called game. So I love how everybody says that now when somebody banks home a three to win it. It is pretty fun. But Trey, who do you have for best debut? Besides, Drew Holiday.
Are we talking specifically debuts of players for new teams? Because if so, Skeets, I'm going to hit you with Seth Curry. Seth Curry came through in the clutch. He was my underrated pickup of the off season. He didn't have a crazy game, just 13 points on 4 of 8 shooting. He only made 1 3, but he made a couple of huge clutch plays in the fourth quarter. He hit a little floater after a broke down play. He had a nice dish to Ben Simmons underneath the basket for the dunk that basically sealed the game in the win against the Wizards. I just thought it was nice having another player out there who is comfortable making plays with the ball when things are breaking down. You don't expect Seth Curry to be a leading offensive playmaker for the Sixers this season, but in a pinch, when plays are breaking down, he can do it enough that it gives him another bit of a weapon out there, a little bit more natural as a passer and a shooter, rather than just a shooter or just a scorer like Tobias Harris or Josh Richardson might be. But I just thought it was nice to see a guy that they picked up in the offseason who you're expecting to perhaps close games. He was certainly better than Danny Green was last night. So if they've got those options, if you can choose between Seth Curry and Danny Green, it's a lot like the Lakers last year. One of those guys is probably going to play well. For the Lakers, it was either Bradley or Danny Green. Now we're talking about Seth Curry or Danny Green. There's going to be somebody out there that the Sixers can use. And last night it was Seth Curry. Shout out to him showing up when they needed him.
Look at that. This guy's a real basketball fan. The obvious answer, people would go Westbrook. Oh, triple-double in his Wizards debut. Not Trey Kirby. He goes a little deeper. And you're right.
Curry a Westbrook triple-double at this point. It's like,
well, yeah. And his best assist of the night was leaving Ben Simmons under the rim there when Seth Curry made that pass. What are you doing, Russ? I mean, I know you're new to the defensive structure there, although it's your old coach, so how new is it? But, that was why are you leaving the guy? I mean, he's I know he's not a shooter, but I think he could dunk it from 1 foot away from the rim. Nice pass from Curry. You're right. So that's a good pick, a good debut. Where are you going, Lee?
Yeah, that was interesting. Ben Simmons just being in that dunker spot. Debut for Doc Rivers as well. Starting or ending with Shake Milton as the point guard. Ben Simmons was off the ball. And so that was pretty interesting to see Ben just hanging out there. Danny Green on the bench. Shake Milton's the point guard at the end of the games, and that came through big time. That's why they won. They were just spread out, and they had lots of room. So Doc Rivers, nice debut right there.
That was a fun game. That was one of the games I sort of zeroed in on it from the the early starts, I guess. So I watched that one a lot, of course, with the Raptors too losing. But yeah, Shake Milton, he showed how important he is. Like just ball handling and his shooting ability. I thought Embiid was a beast too. I don't want to overlook him. I thought he had a great game. I also thought it was really funny. We're seeing all these the setups, right, with like what these arenas are doing, what these teams are doing with no fans for the most part in the crowd. Did you notice that the Sixers had like their dancers there, like sort of up on like a weird little stage? And I'm watching through League Pass, so every time they go to like a break, it just goes to these camera shots of like their drum line, and like these poor dancers are dancing for no one really the entire game. Kudos to them. They kept the energy up pretty high for the entire contest, but that's gotta be a weird feeling. Lily just dancing really for nobody.
Well, yeah, but you have to try to recreate any sort of circumstances you can, I guess, for your team. Because again, this is the game that I was actually watching pretty closely as well, because it was a very weird game. The Wizards at times looked like they were home. And the Sixers struggled. They scored 15 points in the third quarter, Philadelphia, then 40 in the fourth quarter. And a lot of it, I think, was actually Joel Embiid. One of the criticisms we had of him down in the bubble was not being aggressive and just bullying his way to the basket. He did that a few times against like Thomas Bryant and those guys. And that's what he needs to do. He needs to just make sure these guys know, I'm way better than you. I'm bigger. I'm stronger. And I'm going to get inside and get his team baskets. And they did, because it looked like the Wizards were going to win this game. That triple-double from Westbrook was good. He got off to a good start. But it was Simmons and Embiid at the end, I thought, who really stamped themselves down. Simmons' defense was incredible too last night. I think he had 2 steals and 3 blocks. Those are the hardcore numbers for you in the box score. But just his presence and his defensive impact was incredible. And this is a good game, because these two teams are going to be rivals. Westbrook and Embiid have had a history in the past. So I'm looking forward to seeing how those two go against each other this season. But Westbrook definitely changes that offensive look for Washington, that someone else can actually get a basket on that team. I think Beal finished with 30 in the end, but just the energy that Westbrook brought was something that the Wizards hadn't really had. Bertans got off to an incredible start there too, hitting those threes, but then he did nothing after that. That's the problem with him, is he can hit those threes, but then he just kind of goes missing. So good game, good start, and impressed to see Joel Embiid using his bulk and using his size when his team needed it.
Yeah, for sure. It was a good win. Who do you have for best debut, though, Lee?
Well, that's where I was going. I mean, we got to it at the end there, but that's where I was going for it. There was some
Westbrook.
Yeah, Westbrook, because I thought to go out there and just crack that triple-double. And again, Westbrook, they gave him that mid-range shot early on, and he started knocking them down. But then he just sort of steps out a little bit. He gets a little bit too confident. But if he stays in that mid-range game, that's where he can be his most effective, like attacking the basket and just staying in that mid-range. But teams will just say, once he gets a little bit confident, let him step back and take those threes. And that's where that's, again, just his downfall, just his weakness. But I think he had in the third quarter, too, a triple-double.
Yeah, of course. He was embarrassingly bad on defense, though. He was so lost.
He was, but that's Westbrook. He gives that team some energy.
Yeah. All right. So Westbrook gets a little nod there. Okay, let's go to our next question then. Lee, you get us started. Most surprising player or team performance?
Let's go out to Cleveland. Let's go there. Let's go there.
Hang the Carlin, mate.
Oh my God. This was technically it counts as a blowout in the end, but it wasn't really. It was closer than it seemed. Now, this game it has some incredible moments. Terry Rozier had 36 points and 10 threes in the second half. And 42 points, an incredible game by him. Yep. But it was the backcourt, the Sexland backcourt there of Cleveland. It started off Sexton, he was fantastic. And then Darius Garland in the second half, he was really good. And this team, I will say this happily, was fun to watch last night. Their rookie, Koro, he was good as well. But this team just played with energy. They played together. And even though, again, it was technically a blowout, it didn't sort of feel like they were all that comfortable, because it's the Cavs, so you just never know. But one of the main things was this team going to be boring? And they weren't boring last night at all. It was fun. Andre Drummond even had some nice plays out there last night. So this was exciting. I mean, this was a game that I thought I could overlook because there was so many on the schedule. But then I sort of caught what was going on, dipped into it, and then rewatched it again this morning. I was like, this was fun. The Cavs were fun. They look good out there. They look like they're enjoying themselves.
Hold on. Are you telling me on a 12-game night you watch the Cavs Hornets, you went to bed, and you said, you know what? I want to watch that again.
No, I dipped into it. I said because Rozier was going off, and then and people were saying as well. Skeets is tweeting me about Darius Garland. So I'm looking back at that. But there's so many screens going there last night. You're just trying to bob around. But
what you watched sort of the highlight package again this morning, I assume.
That was the old 10-minute recap, and it was fun. It was fun to watch, and seeing Rozier have. I'm guessing that was his career high night. It had to have been. Like, the guy hits 10 threes on opening night, 42 points. But there's so many other storylines and so many other information going on there last night. People aren't talking about it too much, but it was funny for when he gets confident. He was calling Bismack, "Come and give me a screen." And then he just stepping in, knocking down those threes. 10 of 16, good shooting, fun game.
Yeah, and Gordon Hayward was looking great out there the entire game. He had a 28-point night. It was just a steady night for him. It looked like he was going to lead his team in scoring, and then Terry Rozier comes out of nowhere. They combine for 70 points, and they still lose. Yeah. That's the scary part. What's weird is that Cody Zeller goes out. I underestimated the importance of Cody Zeller because when a guy gets injured, who's going to replace that guy? And who's going to replace the guy who replaces him? Because Bismack Biyombo comes in, and he's supposed to be known as a defensive guy, and he just watched people stroll to the rim. The Cavs looked exciting because nobody could play defense on the Hornets. I mean,
they were helped out by that. Yeah, the Cavs shot 53% from the floor, 34 assists on 46 made baskets, and had 7 guys in double figures. They shot the ball well, but I'm with Tass. The Hornets made it easy for them a lot of times out there.
That's bad. That's bad. Yeah, they're going to miss Cody Zeller, which is crazy. Can you find another Zeller to replace him? I don't know, but that's scary. You get 70 points from those guys. I mean, we're going to talk about John Morant, I'm sure. It's kind of like the Memphis situation. You get a 40-point night, you shouldn't lose. You should not lose. But the Cavs, they've got a lot of talent. I wonder how good it's going to look against a team that's not the Hornets.
Will this be the last time we talk about the Cavs this season?
No. Okay. They've got me. They've got me for a couple of games here. I
was going to say, you can tell it's the first week of the season. Lee watched the Wizards, Hornets, and Cavs on purpose yesterday.
I will say, disappointing start for LaMelo Ball. Very, very rough.
Yeah, because he didn't even have a cool highlight.
No, he didn't. In fact, he had a Shackton moment, which was rough for him. But yeah, couldn't get going. I thought he was going to get some more minutes and more opportunity, but unfortunately, no. But came on a loss against the Cavs. But I'm watching the Cavs.
I love it. Okay, so that's surprising. Sure, just you watching the Cavs is surprising enough. Trey, why don't you go next? Surprising player or team performance?
Well, we already touched on it a little bit, but I was really impressed with Jaylen Brown for the Celtics last night. Jason Tatum is certainly getting most of the buzz with the big bank job, but Jaylen, 33 points. He was making plays in the half court. He scored in the post. He scored on like a little mid-range pull-up. I just thought he was really, really good for the Celtics last night, and that's exactly what they're going to need with Kemba Walker out at the beginning of the season. I also thought Marcus Smart was pretty good playing basically point guard. He really reined himself in. There are certainly games where we'll see Marcus Smart take 11 threes or something like that, but I think he only took something like 3 shots last night. He had 7 assists. Like, he was just setting up the Celtics because he came into the league as a point guard, but with the way the Celtics personnel has always been, he's kind of always been the defensive point guard and a little bit of a ball mover, a little bit of a shooting guard. But now with Kemba out, he's kind of forced into that role as a playmaker, and he really succeeded. And I also got to give a major shout out. Celtics have the best looking arena setup for all of these games with their banners down by the court. That looked awesome, having those right behind the baselines, behind the basket.
I agree. I think it also came into play when Giannis missed that free throw. Man. It's like the intimidation of looking at all those banners while you're trying to get your first ring. I mean, that second one, Lee, I see you shaking your head, and I was waiting. I was like, oh, Lee Ellis is so ready to tweet, practice your free throw, kids. He knows he's going to miss one of these. And I agree with Cass. I don't think he should have ever been on the line to begin with. I think that was a bit of a gimme. That's a 2-time MVP. Get the benefit of the doubt. Okay. But, second one.
Yeah.
Rough.
See, the great thing about that tweet of mine, because it's such a great tweet, is you can tweet it if he makes them or misses. Because if he makes them, practice your free throws. You can send that game to overtime. He missed it. But it was a clunker, that second one. Oh, my God, it was a clunker. And Giannis had a 3-pointer late as well. Airballed that. I mean, I think he went 3 for 8 in the end from 3 last night, which is pretty good percentage overall. Sure. But man, those big ones where he just airballing them, that's rough. I hope he can redeem himself from that one because he was slumped after missing that free throw. He knew what it meant. He knew that tweet was coming.
Yes, I'm sure the first thing he did when he got back to the locker room was check at Lee Ellis on Twitter. Oh,
No, but you know what?
Is it there?
Like I'm not questioning his MVP credentials or anything like that, but people do like, oh, he's an MVP, you know, like, oh, he shouldn't miss those, and he shouldn't get that foul call, like you're saying as well. It's like it's got nothing to do with that. It's just a free throw at the end of the game, and that's all it is.
Well,
Right?
I mean, he came up short.
Yeah, I know, but it's not like he still had 35 and 13. I mean, you know,
I think he lost an MVP last night. Look, I'll say it. I think he lost it. I did see somebody tweet that, and then they deleted the tweet after they were getting ratio very hard. But okay, so I do like the look, though. I'm with you, Trey. It looks awesome. I actually think most of the arenas did a pretty good job of trying to make them aesthetically as pleasing as possible with no fans. But Celtics are running away with the overall look. Tass, you got a surprise team player performance that you liked?
Well, just to jump on the Jaylen Brown bandwagon, I love Jaylen. I thought Giannis as well. Those two guys overshadowed by the end of the storyline there by Tatum and by the Giannis missed free throw. Giannis was awesome. I had 35 and 13. He was 6 of 8 from the free throw line. That's pretty good. I think he practiced those free throws. 75%. That's above his normal percentage. That's pretty good. He definitely. I think his form looks better. What do you think, Lee? I think he's got a little bit more of a flow. It used to be a little bit more stagnant, a little bit more mechanical. Yeah, a little bit more. Yeah. Here's my legs coming up. Here's my slow arm coming up. But now there's some flow there. There's a little bit more flow. I believe in him in the Bucks. That was a fine loss at the end, even though it was a freaking crazy loss. I think they feel okay, other than Giannis being pretty pissed.
What do you think? 18 in the fourth quarter, right? For Giannis, that's the other thing. But you got to make your free throws, or else you're getting tweeted by Lee Ellis. And he's going to go to the line in those situations. It might not have actually been a foul, but in the same situation, every team is going to foul him. Say, you got to make these. Doesn't matter how smooth it's looking. We want to see that swish.
Yeah, well, what do you think, Shot Dr. Lee? Is Task got a point? Does it look a little more smooth? Giannis at the free throw line.
It's like his 3-pointer. Like when he steps into it and he gets that one motion, he looks much better. But when he does kind of sort of like, I've got to remember this. It's like a golf swing, you know. It's like, got to remember this, got to remember that. Put the ball up, elbow straight, and then let it go. Sometimes they can just see that in his mind. He's just got to sort of forget about it and just shoot it. You know what I mean? Like, don't overthink about it too much. But because he has games where it's like, yeah, it looks beautiful, it looks great, but it's almost like other times he's just thinking he's in his own head a little bit. But look, 3 for 8 from downtown, a 6 for 8 from line. That's overall, you would take that, of course, from him because he's not a naturally beautiful shooter of the ball. So he's working hard on it. He had a nice little, you know what he has got a nice is that little fadeaway on the baseline. He hit that last night again over Marcus Smart.
He showed his crap load of the bag with 35 points. Yeah, in the post there, on the baseline, in the lane, the threes, and some good teammates. But yeah,
still in a loss. Do you have anyone else to ask for a surprising team or?
No, I'll say it.
Okay, well, I'll throw some love to the Orlando Magic. Was a surprising win over the Miami Heat, and I ended up watching this one down the stretch. We don't talk a lot about the Magic. They're a weird team. Feels like they have a bunch of guys that you're like, that guy's still on their team. They haven't traded him yet, but they got the victory. And it was nice down the stretch for them. 113-107 over Miami. The Heat did not look good. Sort of similar to what we saw from the Lakers on opening night with those two teams playing, 71, 72 days ago after going to the finals. But yeah, I mean, they got it done. And in the end, it was sort of by committee. It was not like there wasn't like one standout performance. Fournier had 25. Aaron Gordon had 20. Fultz, 15. Vucevic didn't even have a monster game, 15. Terrence Ross did his thing off the bench, 19. You see it all there. I thought Cole Anthony looked decent in his 20 minutes of play for a rookie too. Not running away with Rookie of the Year by any means, but solid. I threw a nice hoop to Aaron Gordon on the fast break. That was huge. Nice finish by AG. So nice win. I guess a little shocked more with the Heat's performance in it, maybe than I am even the Magic. They just didn't look all that good, probably outside of Bam, who had a pretty impressive game for them. So a little love to Orlando here for their season opener victory over their rivals there in Florida. Okay, let's go to most disappointing player or team. Trey, we're going to go to you first. Okay, well, let's see where we go. Let's see where he goes with this one.
The Bulls suck, man. Skeets. Come on, this is embarrassing. The Bulls, the only good thing after last night, they got absolutely smoked by the Atlanta Hawks. The Bulls last season were this season's Hawks. We brought in some vets. We're going for the playoffs. We got Jim Boylan punching the clock. It was a disaster.
Yeah.
The season was over after night 1 against the Charlotte Hornets. The season is over after night 1 against the Atlanta Hawks this season because the Bulls just looked so bad. Basically on every part of the court. They gave up 40 in the first quarter, 42, 41 in the second quarter. Meanwhile, they're barely getting to 30 points. Kobe White looked completely out of his depth as a starting point guard. Couldn't really get the ball to his teammates. Could not find Trae Young when he had to guard him on offense. And it was bad. For me, I kind of charged it to the game as we were going on. I'm seeing the Bulls losing by 30 points. I'm saying, all right, time to get rolling these cinnamon rolls. Got to roll them out. That was the only good thing that happened. I got my baking done, and now I'm thinking the Bulls are going to be in the mix for the number 1 pick this year. I don't think they're really the worst team in the league, but they were brutal last night. They look like the worst team in the league. They'll certainly get better. You got to be a little bit encouraged that Patrick Williams had an okay game. But with the lottery odds being flattened a little bit, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that the Bulls have one of the 6th worst records in the league and, have a little bit of lottery luck. And suddenly we're back with Cade Cunningham right next to the florist, Patrick Williams. I'm already focused on the draft, Skeets. It's been one night, but oh my goodness. When you're getting beaten that bad by a team that you're basically on par with, like they should be challenging the Hawks. The Hawks made a lot more moves this season. Yeah. The Bulls did it last season, but they're right in the same tier, basically. And the Bulls just looked completely outclassed. Looked like they hadn't played basketball in 10 months. Neither had the Hawks, but they looked all right.
Yeah, that's the tough one with this game to figure out. It's like, wow, are the Hawks maybe that good, offensively especially, or are the Bulls that bad, or is it somewhere in the middle? Because, you see the box score of this one. The plus minuses are hilarious. Like DeAndre Hunter's a plus 40. He played like 20 minutes or something like that. 25 minutes. Like he's like, I'm sure it wasn't DeAndre Hunter doing all that action. It's just, he's like, hey, this is awesome. We just score every time I'm out here. It was crazy. It was over in a hurry, but Trae Young, he got Woboy. There was so many guys that I could have given Woboy to, but I went with him. He played 26 minutes and had an unbelievable night. He had 12 shots and he scored 37 points. In the blink of an eye, got a lot of it at the line, hit threes. So yeah,
quite spacious out there. He could just walk into the lane. I think it was kind of a blessing that Clint Capella was hurt for the Hawks in this one because John Collins was the 5 and they were all spread out around. Gallinari got the start instead. So John Collins could do whatever the heck he wanted with all that space and no Capella clogging. They just didn't get anywhere near John Collins. And John Collins.
I don't know if any of the Bulls physically touched any of the Hawks. Like Trae Young would come around a screen and he would have 6 feet on either side of him, whether it was Levine guarding him, whether it was Kobe White guarding him, or whether it was, Wendell Carter in no man's land, basically. The Bulls have switched their defensive principles this year, trying to play a little bit more conservatively, but the guards cannot stick with the guards. So they pull up and it's like Wendell Carter's just waiting there. He's like, all right, you shooting a floater over my head or you lobbing it to John Collins? Luckily for the Hawks, they got some of both.
Yeah, he got a couple of M1s, I think, there, Trae Young, from when guys were behind him.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, exactly.
I will say the Hawks uniforms I thought looked pretty nice out there.
Oh yeah, those black Hawks uniforms, they look really.
They got the
really
best
nice.
unis in the league.
Yeah,
they're a trifecta of unis. They're perfect. I don't think they can lose this year. I think they're going 82-0 because of those jerseys.
Oh my god,
they're so good. Forget. They're going to the playoffs. They're winning 10 straight in the playoffs.
Oh, the Spurs did that once. Yeah.
Yeah. I did want to say, as far as your cinnamon rolls go, it was good to see Patty Williams. As he said, you're rolling out your patties. That was nice. And then after the game, John Collins, I think he calls himself Iceman or the Ice or something. I don't know what he calls himself. But he said, hey, Iceman had a good game. So icing was on your cinnamon rolls. I don't know. I'm just trying to talk cinnamon rolls. Okay. But yeah, John Collins was talking to himself in the third person, giving himself that nickname. I don't know.
I think Ice Tray, right? Isn't that what they call Trae Young?
It was about John. It was about himself. Oh, maybe he was talking about Ice.
He must have been
Trae Young.
The Iceman Trae Young. He did have a pretty sick game. What did he end up with? 37 and 7.
Yeah.
But he was basically out there playing rec league ball. So good game for him.
Hey, at least this is the icing sugar on top of your cinnamon roll here, Trey. At least you didn't have Boylan calling timeouts with his team down, 35 with like a minute to go. Or did Donovan do it? I don't know. Maybe he did. I didn't watch.
You got to give a shout out to Jim Boylan, back in the news.
Yeah.
Hooked up with the Portland Trailblazers to help with their defense. They lost 120 to 100. So the Bulls may be the worst team in the Eastern Conference, and the Trailblazers look like the worst team in the Western Conference for a night. For a night. They looked bad. Great night for Chicago. Great night.
That was great. That was my surprise watching Portland play defense. You throw in Derrick Jones Jr. and Robert Covington into that starting lineup. Everybody excited for the Portland Trailblazers to play D, and the Jazz literally tore them up. It was a blowout, and I loved watching Joe Ingles. Actually, I was surprised. Joe Ingles looked like a young buck out there. He's coming off the bench. Which didn't work for them last year, but he had 7 assists to lead his team. He was literally carving the Blazers up, and I don't know what happened to Damian Lillard, but he just couldn't find himself at all. They just suffocated him. 9 points, very, very bad night, as bad as a night as he had all of last season. So that was really, really odd to see the Blazers, who have been hyped to the max as a team that could be a 3-4 seed. Defense is hard, as we saw with the Bulls, we saw with the Hornies, and we saw with the Blazers. You got to stop somebody on the perimeter. You got to play hard, and they got torn up by a Jazz team that shouldn't be tearing you up like that.
Yeah, that's my pick, too, for disappointing player or team. I mean, Lillard, that's only the second time in 4 years that he scored under 10 points. And you got to give some kudos to the Jazz guards for not fouling him. That's very difficult with Damian Lillard. Move your feet, don't reach. And then Gobert and Favors back there, those guys, I mean, they just threw a lot of bodies at him. They kept him off balance. And again, like I said, they didn't foul him a ton. And then when they contained him, they did rotate to the other shooters. That was great defense. I thought Gobert had an unbelievable game for them. But yeah, the hype coming in here, I thought I was going to be one of the rare people picking Lillard for MVP. Feels like there's like 10 people across the media taking this guy, and this is not a great start, of course. 4 for 12 and just the 9 points. And just a bad overall team performance. You're right. I'm going to blame Boylan, the stink of Boylan on them for this loss. But
unbelievable to bring that guy in after the past 2 seasons. I don't get it. But I don't know. Gar Forman also got a job for the Pelicans. Maybe it wasn't the people making the decisions, because you look at the talent on the court for the Bulls. Didn't look good last night. You're brutal.
No. Okay, so we're piling on the Blazers here, trying to give a little love to the Jazz too in that 20-point win. Lee, is there another team or player you want to sort of give some coal to here?
No, I just would have sort of wanted to more emphasize 2 things, I think, for the Jazz. Bogdanović coming back helps their offense a lot. I mean, everyone was hitting threes. I think they hit 10 in the first half there for the Jazz. And then defensively,
they took a ton of threes too. That's very important. They took 50 threes. I think that might be a Jazz record, actually.
Yeah, I think they ended up hitting 19. But Favors, again, that defense of his is so important for the team. And that's what they were missing last season. But also, Mitchell didn't give Lillard any sort of opportunity a lot of the times at the top of the ball, just to even get the ball. It was like Mitchell was right there in his face. And I just think that was a smart way for the Jazz to be like, don't even let Lillard sort of get into his groove there, because once he does, we know what Lillard's capable of doing. So I think the Blazers were just kind of not really expecting that sort of a defensive, intense focus from the Jazz in night 1. They just didn't seem ready. So, yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Or I guess we sort of were all zero.
Well, unfortunately, another guy who I've hyped up, and I said I want to see his playoff form in the regular season. Jamal Murray was great game. Really fun game, and credit to the Kings for winning this one. This was a fantastic performance. Jokic had a triple-double. Michael Porter Jr. is guaranteed to lead the league in I don't give a shit. I'm just shooting it next time I get the ball shots. He had a good game. But there are times where he's just like, I'm shooting it if I get it, and I'm going to go and get it. And I'm just shooting. I'm just going to fire away. He's a young guy, and it is going to be something he has to learn. Defensively as well, he gets lost a lot. But
see that block in the corner? That was
nice.
Look, he does nice things, but he tends to still play his own game a little bit too much for me. But again, he's a young guy. He's a rookie guy, and he's very, very talented. So he'll play that out. But Jamal Murray just could not get it going last night. I think he ended up 1 field goal, and that was a dunk in the second half. He did hit all his free throws, but unbelievable that he just wouldn't be able to get anything going really on that offense when Jokic had it going, and And this was a game that I think most of us would have thought the Nuggets win this game. Went to overtime. It was a great finish, but they need more, obviously, from Jamal Murray, and he didn't perform last night.
No, bad performance from him. Well, the final question I have is favorite play and or random moment from the night. And I'll go first because it is the ending of the Kings game that you're talking about here, Lee. Run, buddy, run was the call on the game winner. This was an insane ending because the Nuggets had possession of the ball. Less than 7 seconds to go in overtime. I don't know, 99 times out of 100, they either win the game or at least it goes to double overtime, right? Yet they somehow lost because it's pure chaos. Harrison Barnes steals the ball from Jokic. He's going the other way. He misses a dunk, thanks to pretty good defense from Will Barton, but Buddy stays with the play, trailing, and then hits the buzzer-beating tip-in. Kings win 124-122, and Buddy Hield does what Buddy Hield does. After he hits a game winner, he did against the Pistons. Was that last year or the year before? I can never remember, but he went screaming off, like, you can't touch me, like he's a soccer player. And he did it again. He just went screaming to the back. But even before that, the Nuggets had a chance to put this game away before we even got to the Jokic turnover because they're up 2 points, 13 seconds to go. Will Barton, like nice sort of inbounds play. He's left all alone in the paint. Porter finds him. And then De'Aaron Fox doesn't give up. He swoops in, does a barrel roll, and has the chase down block to then get a game-tying transition layup the other way. I mean, if Barton scores that, it's over. I mean, it's definitely over. But Fox doesn't give up. Huge block, and they score the other way, and then we get this whole crazy another steal and the Buddy Hield tip-in. What a insane ending to this one on opening. I mean, the Tatum bank three was crazy. This is crazier when you consider all the things I just laid out.
Nuggets basically just gave it away. Like you're saying, that Will Barton layup was ridiculous. He was wide open underneath the hoop. Yeah. The guy's been in the slam dunk contest. He basically moonwalks there. It took forever to get the ball up to the hoop. Star Fox comes in, swats it away. Harrison Barnes making a couple of nice plays down the stretch, just attacking the hoop, getting to the rim. Had the layup on the first one. Then, like you're saying, Buddy Hield comes flying in for the tip. That guy looked huge. He looked like he was 7 feet tall up there. Like punches it into the hoop, and he's gone. See ya. And obviously, it was within time because even the Nuggets broadcasters were like, "Well, that counts. See you later, buddy." He's gone. Well, see you on Saturday.
Crazy fun game. But Trey, we'll go to you next. Is there another one that was, your favorite play from the night or random moment?
This was in the Mavericks-Suns game. Josh Richardson had an incredible dunny bowl, spun around 5 times, which is fun to watch in the first place. But then they showed the replay of it from the baseline angle, and you can see both Josh Richardson and I'm pretty sure that it was it must have been Tim Hardaway Jr. They're both watching from behind, both shimmying as this ball is spinning around the hoop. It finally drops. I just thought this was so good. Here's the shimmies. Look at this. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's always exciting when you're around when a dunny bowl goes in. It just feels like time has stopped for some reason.
Yeah. And we had a lot of people on Twitter I saw tweeting at us like, what do we call this? Because, we obviously tracked the wedgies. Didn't have one, unfortunately, over the last 2 nights. But, we know we got the pigeons and all the ledgy, but like, what is this? Because there was a lot of people, is this a toilet bowl or something like that? It is the Dunny Bowl. That's what we call this one. That's right, Lily, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah, it was a great one. It was a beautiful one. Just kept going and going. And as you mentioned there, Trey, I love seeing him in the background, really just trying to will it in there.
It worked.
Beautiful moment. Yeah.
I love the Dungy Bowl. Just a little bit of dung for you. When I saw that really quickly, I just saw the close-up of the rim, the ball going around the rim. I thought it was from years ago. I just, that just happens so rarely. I just thought, somebody's throwing up an old clip on Twitter. I'll laugh at something from 2017, and then I flicked and I saw wild stuff.
Last night.
But yeah, I just want to note in that game, the worrisome part for the Mavericks, best offense in the league last year. They almost win this game against the Phoenix Suns. Very close down the stretch. Yeah. Chris Paul and Devin Booker together, they pull it out. It was a very Chris Paul-like ending. That should be what the Suns hope for. On the other side, Luka, 32 nice ones, but the second highest scorer on the Mavs has 12 points. And sort of like what happened in Memphis where John Morant had a fantastic game. You can't have 40 plus and lose a game, but John Morant had 44. and they lose. That's the scary part for the Mavs. That's the scary part for the Grizzlies. That just shouldn't happen. And then let's give the Spurs a little bit of love. You said we're not going to talk about the Cavs until maybe the end of the season. I think the Spurs will probably go less talked about, but they are, wait for this, exciting. I believe in the Spurs being somewhat exciting. 3 young guys start with their oldies, DeMar and LaMarcus Aldridge. Okay, they're their starters. And then Keldon Johnson, DeJounte Murray, and Lonnie Walker. Exciting stuff if you watch the Spurs. Nobody did. But they
Lonnie
are
Walker
exciting.
had some nice dunks.
Oh, Lonnie Walker was skywalking last night. He had some bounce to him. He had a couple of nice dunks. And that also had the Ja Morant to himself, the self-oop off the backboard, the shoop, if you want to call it that. Very, very nice.
The very rare finger roll alley-oop to himself, too, because he kind of got caught and he was like, what am I going to do here? And then just gently laid it up off the backboard, then slammed it down. Yeah, there was some action in this game, some highlights, but Grizzlies were just never really close. It was just the classic.
Ja Morant did everything he could to get that team back in the game. He was attacking, like all of his shots were in the paint, like everything was like basically inside. And but the Spurs they kept scoring. They couldn't get enough stops. Like Tass was saying, it's like disappointing. You got a 44-point performance, you just can't stop the other team to pull out the victory. That was we had the Dunny Bowl there. We had the Kings crazy ending versus the Nuggets. Some Lonnie Walker dunks. We've already talked about the Tatum step back game winning 3 over Giannis. Anything else, Lily? Is there anything else that comes to mind?
Well, what cliche do you prefer? Play the full 48 minutes. It's a game of 2 halves. It's a game of runs, because you could apply all that to the Raptors and the Pelicans down in Tampa. Down there, I thought the Raptors looked great in the first half, and in the second half, Brandon Ingram was fantastic, and JJ Redick he's probably a solid candidate for 6th man of the year if he plays like he did last night, just hitting those threes. And in the end, I mean, the Pelicans handed the Raptors this loss pretty handily. Toronto's disappointing performance, because we expect the Raptors to be a little bit more resilient than that, but their defense wasn't good enough. Ingram, again, he is so confident right now in that mid-range game. I know he's most improved last year, an all-star, 25 a game, so we shouldn't be shocked by it, but he seems to have taken another level to his game already. Now, his numbers might not be too much different from last season, but just that sort of confidence and that, like, I'm going to get my shot. Not Kevin Durant. He's not Kevin Durant. I'll just say that. He's not Kevin Durant, but it had that same sort of confidence of, like, once I get the ball, I'm getting to my spot and I can knock this shot down. So I thought that was good. Zion was good. He had a couple of non-highlight reel dunks.
Yeah, nice block. Give him that. That was a huge swat.
But he had a couple of plays they made. He got inside. There was just no one there at the rim, so he couldn't really dunk on anybody. So Stan Van Gundy's offensive schemes are a little bit too good. They don't allow for highlight reel dunks.
The Pelicans caught fire in the second half from 3, and the Raptors couldn't hit a shot, and then they blew it open. Yeah, it was a 14-point victory in the end for the Pelicans. That's a good start to their season, though. I mean, like, those are the type of games they're going to have to win if they're going to get into the playoffs. You're going to have to beat those teams like the Raptors that are not elite, but are like, the middle of the pack sort of good teams. And they got the victory. I mean, the Raps are playing in Tampa. It's going to be interesting to see how that affects them at all. But you're right. It was weird to see a Raptors team, who is usually such a resilient bunch, even when they're down, sort of scrap and claw their way back into the game. And it just never felt like that was going to be the case on opening night, and never was in the end, as the Pelicans continued to push the lead a little bit bigger. What do you think of that game, Tess?
I thought the floor looked good. I thought,
the chevrons, man. They love chevrons.
So there's a lot going on that floor.
Yeah, there is. There's some shit. There's a deep red, and there's multiple chevrons.
A lot of words.
There's Tangerine, there's OLG. Man, I'd love to play the Ontario Lottery right now. Hey, Tass, wouldn't that be fun?
What's their saying? The OLG. There's a know your limits and play within it, I think. I like seeing the Canadian Tire advertisements and the Sport Check advertisements. You're bringing Canada down. I was slightly worried about their locker room situation. As Lee said, tale of 2 halves, play the full 48. According to our own Blake Murphy, great article in The Athletic about how the Raptors made it happen. Going down from Toronto to Tampa, 6 weeks, they made it happen. It's an incredible story when you think about everything. I can't think of everything, but all the stuff that has to happen. You just got to think about all these details. The Raptors are using an unused locker room on the home team's side of the arena, which is the Lightning, Tampa Bay Lightning's arena. The only thing that's off limits is the Lightning's dressing room. So I just wonder, what is that? Is that locker room good? Because I think it sucks. I just worry that it's not good enough for this former championship team. No, I think everything looked fairly well. Yeah, the lighting wasn't great on the Reen of Tangerine. Definitely, you've got to work out some lighting issues there. But I thought it looked like a Raptors home game, and I'm sure
fans there too. Like, I guess like Blake Murphy's writing his ass off right now too. You said about that one article talking about just the relocation. Then he had his gamer from last night dropping Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin references, like right off the top. Wrestling. It's so good. No, it's like perfect. Like comparing like Bret Hart when he turned into a villain or a heel, but he was always a hero in Canada, and like how that compares to the Raps. It's really well done. But shout out to Blake. Go to the athletic.com/no-dunks. Get your subscription.
Hold on, are the Raptors villains?
Well, no, it's tough to describe. Just go read the article. But like basically saying. Never mind. I'm not even going to try and get into it.
I didn't mean to drop the Jim the Anvil Neidhart on that argument, but I don't get it.
That's okay. All right. Well, do you really want me to go? No, I'm not going into it. I'm not going into it because we got so much more still to talk about here. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about from the actual games that were played? Because we need to address the the postponed game between the Rockets and the Thunder and what's going on with James Harden. Anything else? Did we actually touch on all 12 games there in some weird way?
Pacers Knicks, I don't think.
RJ Barrett, shout out to Canada. We were talking Canada. He had a good performance in the loss. Sabonis looked awesome. We got them all now.
Yeah, not a lot of Minnesota.
Did we do Pistons Timberwolves? A nice win for the Wolves. A solid debut for Anthony Edwards, the number one pick, living in the lane. Like to see that because the big knock on him coming into his draft was that he settles for outside jumpers too much. I like to see him getting some buckets inside and some touching moments with Karl Anthony Towns, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I was happy for him. I was happy they pulled out that victory. All right. Okay, there. We touched on them all very, very briefly in some instances. Okay, so late Wednesday afternoon, the NBA announced that the matchup between the Rockets and the Thunder had been postponed because the Rockets did not have 8 players available. Now, the NBA said 3 Rockets players returned tests that were either positive or inconclusive for the coronavirus under the NBA's testing program, including guys like John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins. And in addition, 4 other players were already quarantined under the contact tracing protocol. Or do I have it backwards? And Wall and Cousins were in that bunch. It doesn't matter. There's a lot of guys that were either testing positive, inconclusive, or they were worried they were around people that may have been positive. Also, James Harden fined $50,000, ruled unavailable due to a violation of the league's COVID-19 protocols after the NBA reviewed a video of him partying maskless at a club. Harden told NBA investigators he believed he was in compliance with NBA health and safety protocols. I would say the video begs to differ with that. The Beard issued a statement on Instagram basically saying every day it's something different and the event was not a strip club and stuff like that. So I think he then deleted that because, James, it doesn't actually matter if it's a strip club or a club. It's like that's sort of not the point here. But anyway, so he's fined. The game is postponed. Taz, what do you make of all this? There are a bunch of questions I have, but I mean, just get us started with your opinion on what the hell just went down here.
Yeah, it's convoluted, right? Because it's multiple scenarios, multiple little rocket pockets, rocket factions doing different things. When we were here 24 hours ago, the footage was revealed or came to light that James Harden was at his girl's party, he was supporting his girlfriend, as he said. He was just there supporting her, regardless of whether it's a strip club or not. As he said, it's a group of 15 or more people. He was there. That's unacceptable by the NBA standards. And then John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, and Kenyon Martin Jr. went and got their haircuts together. They just wanted to look good for opening night. That was the plan. And so they're in someone's apartment. And so there's a contact tracing, and apparently John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins have tested negative, according to Adrian Wojnarowski. But that came out as well. I knew haircuts would cause a problem. I knew it, and that's why the bubble had hairdressers there. But this is just a sampling of what people live like now that they're in their own cities. Some people care about containing the virus, and some people don't. And I just wonder if this video doesn't come to light, does the NBA react the same way? I would hope so. but I wonder if that combined with this hair cutting situation, combined with Ben McLemore has tested positive in a whole other scenario, and then another player is also being quarantined. I just wonder if the NBA would have jumped on it if it was just one of these isolated scenarios and may have not canceled the game. But I think what I'm trying to say is that the NBA is really on top of it if you're led to believe that if one person goes to a bar and then they do contact tracing and then they suspend a game because of it, the NBA is probably going to cancel a lot of games. It just seems like this is one of a lot because, as I said, this is just the way people live. And we all know it. Whether or not any of us are going to bars, you can see people out and about in the city that we live in, hanging out, maskless. And so I think James Harden is just one of a lot of players that are doing it. And that's obviously the difference between a bubble situation and living in your own city. And I haven't John Schumann this. I haven't broke down the numbers to look at, okay, well, there's one game suspended here on the opening night for many teams. In the MLB or the NFL, how many games were suspended because of things of this nature where it's just contact tracing? It's not necessarily guys testing positive because in the end they didn't test positive. So we could have a lot of games. If it's not about the footage, if it's not about just the overall image of this whole thing, and they're really just doing contact tracing, then I don't know. We could see a lot of games being postponed. And James Harden, there was talk about him losing money because of this game missed, but he's not going to miss money. He's not going to lose money unless this game isn't played, right? Like this game will be played, and he will play in that game eventually if they do play on Saturday night in their next game. So I was just wanted to throw that out there. People saying, he's losing money. Well, not yet. Maybe he will. He will if he misses games because of issues like this. But I thought the Houston Rockets would be bad because of stuff on the court. They would be torn apart because of stuff on the court. But so will they play on Saturday? I don't know. That's a different game. They're playing the Blazers, I believe, on Saturday night. And this game against the Thunder will be postponed until TBD. So I just wonder, how the hell do you trace all this stuff? I mean, it's a tough task. It's a tall task.
It's a lot of testing, no doubt. I think, and I'm glad you pointed it out, that these are 2 or 3 actually like different things going on here within one team. But the James Harden thing, my question for you, Trey, because here's what people are saying. Well, Adam Silver in the league is being way too lenient here. Way too lenient. $50,000, that's it. Now, he might miss games. We don't know that part yet. I mean, it's possible that he could. But like most people are saying, you imagine David Stern, if he were alive and he were still in control of the NBA, like if the protocols were put in place, your union agreed to them, and you're just like basically snubbing it in their face, going to clubs and stuff like that. This is the second time now too, if we count the other one in preseason. Stern would be like, you're suspended X amount of games, get in line or get the hell out of here, right? I think that's probably the case. And Silver in the league right now is being very lenient, in my opinion, with what Harden did specifically. I think it's a different thing with the whole Barber thing and the contract tracing. They're trying to be cautious. But what's your take, Trey?
It does seem like the league is being pretty lenient with James Harden, considering he got fined $50,000, and 2 weeks ago he was giving Lil Baby $100,000 in a briefcase. Like, that's 2 fines, and he called it a honey bun. He has a nickname for $100,000, which is pretty baller if you really think about it. But like Tass is saying, since the game isn't being played, you can't fine James Harden a game check, which that's why we have unions for negotiating that exact kind of stuff. But you're exactly right. It probably would have gone differently had it been David Stern in charge still. Yeah. But I don't know. I think we need to get used to these games being postponed quite a bit, like Tass is saying, because maybe these are the reasons that games in the MLB were postponed, or in the NFL. But an NFL team has 53 players. A baseball team has, help me out, Tass, somewhere between 23 and 27. Perfect. 25 right in between. It's harder. You can miss a lot more players and still play a game in those sports, right? But if you're losing 7 guys just off of contact tracing, one of the hardest phrases out there, not contract tasting. I don't know. But if you're losing those guys so quickly, you're going to get some games postponed. We saw it on night 2. it just feels like a completely avoidable situation, right? Like James Harden is saying, it's something new every single day. Yeah, you're giving us the content. Like, it is something new every single day. Yeah. It's only you right now, though. And it's putting people in danger. It's making your team look bad. It's making your team's fans not be able to watch them play a game. It just hasn't been a good start for James Harden. The Rockets said they were ready to get uncomfortable, but they probably didn't mean it like this, right? No. They didn't want to be the biggest disaster. They didn't want to be a dangerous disaster. It's different being a team that looks like a joke and being a team that looks unsafe.
What do you think, Lee?
Yeah, it's a bullshit excuse, really. He knows what he's supposed to be doing, and it doesn't matter what you say. If you're seen there without a mask on, the NBA really should have a zero tolerance policy and just say, okay, we're going to send a message now and suspend him like 3 games, just to sort of say, because if you do show this lenience again of $50,000, which means absolutely nothing, you may as well fine him $10, then other people will potentially also take some risks. And I think that's the problem here, because this doesn't just cost 1 game to the league, which will be postponed. This could potentially derail several teams if someone slips through the cracks and it goes through a team. So that's what they have to be very, very careful of here. And James Harden's attitude so far has been pretty much like, I don't really give a shit about anyone apart from myself right now. So I think the NBA needs to sort of almost make an example of him, because, he went to Atlanta, he went to Vegas to work out. He didn't turn up to his preseason training camp with his team until he felt like it. So he's kind of walking a bit of a fine line here. And I think the NBA needs to be a little bit more tougher than again, $50,000. That's you may as well not even fine him at that point, because it doesn't make anything. It's not a deterrent. It's no sort of sending a message to anybody that you're going to get in significant trouble. So, this is very risky. At what point as well do you say, well, because of his behavior, and now, again, you can play without 1 player on your team. I think they had 7 guys who couldn't play last night, so the game was postponed. But at what point do you say, well, you know what, because of your own actions, you have to forfeit a loss to the other team rather than reschedule? Because this is not sort of an accidental thing. This is sort of more silly behavior on the part of the team. Now, again, the haircuts are getting together. I'm sure that sort of stuff is happening at other teams where there's small clusters of guys getting together for that. Yeah. But again, if something happens and it's your own fault for your team missing a game, maybe the NBA should just say, well, we just hand the win to the other team.
Yeah, but the Thunder wouldn't want that. The Thunder wouldn't want a W, because they want to lose as many games as possible. They would say, we object to the forfeit, sir. The better excuse for James Harden, I think, would have been, I took off my mask to eat a honey bun. And that's when the video was taken. Then I put on my mask right afterwards. I just wanted to say to Trey, Major League Baseball rosters were expanded to 26 players due to COVID for 2020. So they've got an extra guy.
Yeah, you don't want to be caught without a lefty in the pen.
That's right. The added layer of all this Harden thing is that he wants to be traded, right? Like, he doesn't want to be in Houston. That's what makes this really weird to me. Like, would Harden be doing all of this stuff like if he had been traded already to the Nets or to the Sixers, like to another team? That's where I'm like, I don't know what the answer is to that. Because one part of me is like, yeah, he probably would, because he seems pretty nonchalant with obviously COVID. Maybe that's because by all accounts he already had it, right? I think back in the summer, and is he looking at it like, well, I already had it. Well, I'm not going to get anyone else sick, like, which we don't even know if that's 100% true. The science does not back that up yet. But like, or would he, because he wants to, set a great first impression with a new team, be taking this a little more seriously? So that's this extra added layer for me, Lee, where it's like he's snubbing his nose at the league and really at his own union, because again, these health and safety protocols were put in place, they were agreed upon, but he's also doing it maybe just to the Rockets and to their ownership and their management, like, screw you.
Which is not.
I'm not saying that makes it.
No, I know.
Okay, but I'm saying I'm wondering if he's doing that.
And that's the thing. He has to remain professional. And for the remainder of the time he's there in Houston. Again, Houston have given him everything, absolutely everything, for the last 8 years. So he can't really just now sort of pout and sulk his way out of town. He has to remain professional, because he knows that he's a valuable player. The Rockets can get a ton in return for him. But if he's going to sort of have this attitude and behavior and carry this baggage, it's going to affect his trade value. Because, again, imagine he did go to Brooklyn or Philadelphia and then still behave the same way. They would be pretty upset with him, I think.
Yeah, so. You would think so. So, okay, we will see what the fallout is, whether he misses games and actually is, loses a lot more money, because then you start losing a percentage of your salary, right, with, actual games missed. It's in play.
Yeah, Woj has a tweet just now. Says Rockets guard James Harden will be required to isolate until Friday, continue to test negative for the coronavirus before being cleared to return to play. He should be available Saturday versus the Blazers.
Okay, so he may not miss a game then if he can pass all the testing. Okay, oh wow, so he won't be dinged, at least in the pocketbooks. I would look. Have you ever tried making honey buns? Trey, you're making cinnamon rolls. I wonder.
I haven't, but I would imagine that the process is pretty similar.
Yeah, I would think so. Well, we'll get Peter back on the podcast. All right, so
Drew Holiday loves honey buns. I don't know why I know that, but I know that. I think it's from when we interviewed him. Ooh, let me go back.
Drew Holiday.
It was 20-something at the Adidas.
Absolutely.
Wow.
I remember that. That.
But how did honey buns come up? Now I'm curious.
I think it was one of the random. It was we're just one of the ones where we just asked random questions, and it's like, "What's your favorite dessert?" And he said, "Honey buns," and it was just like, "What? Honey buns?" Did not expect that for some reason. I don't know why.
Okay, great. All right, well. Yesterday, we dropped our annual Christmas tradition, Christmas bars, our naughty bars. And today we have another No Dunks holiday tradition. It's time for the top 5 gifts from the Hammacher Schlemmer catalog.
Top 5, top 5, top 5. Top 5, top 5, top 5.
Yes, the top 5 gifts from the Hammacher Schlemmer catalog, which is a crazy catalog. You can buy everything in this thing. We've done this many years now. I hit you guys with my favorite items, and then I ask you to guess how much it costs in the magazine. That's always a fun twist. But you can buy like mechanical fire-breathing dragons, and if you remember last year, mug pedestals, which was basically a piece of wood that you could then plop your mug on. So there's everything and anything in this thing. Now here's the crazy twist to this year's countdown. As you may have noticed, I'm not holding up right now a Hammacher Schlemmer catalog because I don't have one. Mine never arrived. But enter my Christmas angel, Brett Ferrari. Vroom, vroom. Yes, Brett came through. Once again, last year, he actually sent me his catalog, and I got the physical copy. But this year, we cut it a little too close here up to the Christmas holidays. So, because it never arrived to my house, Brent took it upon his sweet shoulders to peruse the entire Hammacher Schlemmer catalog and send me a few options to then pick from. So without further ado, here are my top 5 gift ideas from the Hammacher Schlemmer catalog by way of Brent. Right? He sent me a lot. He sent me a good 25 options that he did the first pass, and then I've whittled it down to 5. So JD is going to throw up the photos for everybody here in the stream team. At number 5, JD, you were top of mind. We got a couple gifts for you on this year's top 5 gifts from the Hammacher Schlemmer catalog. Number 5 is the side-winding circular skates. Look at these. I love this photo too because it's like JD wears Chuck.
Yeah.
So I think this might be JD trying these out in the photo.
That is me. I modeled for the Hammacher Schlemmer catalog.
Wow, what an honor. Well, these annular skates are propelled by leaning side to side, and it even says in the write-up it's similar, JD, to longboard skating. So would you give these a go if I pick these up for you?
Absolutely. For sure. 100%.
Do you want them in red or green?
Red. Gotta go red.
Yeah, I think the red pops. So yeah, these I've never seen anybody trying this out on like the Atlanta Beltline or on the street. So if you're out there and you're in the stream team right now, let me know if you have a pair of these side winding circular skates. Guys,
those are cool.
Guess how much these cost? Take a guess.
250.
Okay.
350.
Okay, task goes higher.
I'll go 130.
Guys, you could have. Sorry, JD, go ahead.
Give me 500. Cool 500.
Wow, guys, you could have these sweet side winding circular skates for as little as $99.95.
Wow,
$100. That's $50 a circle. Man. Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad at all. All right, JD, I got another gift for you.
Great.
Check out this one, number 4 from the Hammacher Schlemmer catalog, the Yoda table lamp. Look at this piece of shit. The lamp that illuminates a room with Jedi Master wisdom. What the hell does that mean? And it says engraved on there, it's sort of tough to see. Do or do not, there is no try. Classic Yoda. It includes a certificate of authenticity. What?
Like, it says it also comes with a light bulb. That's nice.
Yeah, that's nice. That is nice.
Very nice.
I just like I mean, look, I don't want to judge. I know there are big Star Wars fans out there. JD, you are one of them. But would you have a Yoda table lamp? Like, would you put this beside your bed?
No, absolutely not.
No,
absolutely not. No,
way. I mean, you got to be next level. Like, I don't know. I mean,
would I have a Yoda lamp next to my bed? Perhaps, just not this one.
Okay, yeah, this one's pretty ugly.
You know who would have loved that is our former colleague Chris Nelson. He would absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we should all pool our money together and get this for Chris. Shout out to Chris.
I'm lying in bed with a Yoda lamp, just like Chris Nelson did.
All right, guys, take a guess. Tass, you first. What would you put the price on this unbelievable item?
Okay, let me get in the headspace of Chris Nelson. $149.
Okay, sorry, Trey.
Yeah, I'm guessing since it's a licensed product, that's going to be expensive. $175.
Okay,
that's
Lily?
too much.
I think Star Wars heads don't mind paying a lot for something that's legit.
What?
So what did you say, Tass? Sorry,
$149.
Yeah, I think. Okay, I'm going to say $170.
All right, and so pretty close to Trey, and then. Go ahead, JD. What do you think?
I'm going to say $59.99.
Oh, wow. Well, I guess Lee and Trey were pretty damn close, actually. $179.95.
Wow.
$180.
I've got to get in the Star Wars merch gang, man. I mean, you can sell them anything. You just put Yoda or Darth on there.
Throw a Darth on there.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be cool if you had the Yoda table lamp on one side of the bed and the Darth Vader.
Yeah.
All right. My third item from the Hammacher Schlemmer catalog. The walk-on air outdoor slipper. Now, I take offense to this. Look at that first line in this write-up. Only available from Hammacher Schlemmer? That's bullshit. You can find these custom made in any Armenian household. And this is basically my father-in-law's invention, and they just ripped it off. He, I told you the story, guys. He took an old shoe and he cuts the back of it off, turns it into like an indoor-outdoor slipper. It's brilliant.
But these have 1,000 air bubbles inside.
There's 1,000 air bubbles. They counted them all, Tass. I just take a little offense to them saying, they created these when we all know Hike Artinian did. But what price you putting on these? JD, you go first. What do you got on these sweet indoor outdoor?
I mean, it's ridiculous. It's just a pair of slippers, but I don't know. I'm going to say $79.99.
Okay. Lily.
Yeah, I am a slippers wearer, and I do struggle to find a really comfortable pair. So I'm actually interested in these. Really interested. What would I spend on them? I think I'd go. $49.99 for these. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
You're
really splurging.
Honestly, for me, that's like if they weren't free, that's like $1 billion. Trey, what are you putting on these?
Well, what's the going rate for air these days? Because like you're saying, 1,000 air bubbles at least in a pair of ugly brown slippers. Give me $99.99.
Okay. And then Tass, I'm really excited to hear your take on these, having worked in the foot game.
Right.
Because, is it true, Tass? Are German podiatrists like the leaders in footwear because they're recommended by the Germans? What's your take?
Yeah, don't put this by the. Look at that. Recommended by leading German podiatrists. The slippers have polyurethane non-skid soles. Now, when I see German podiatrists, I think Birkenstocks because these have molded footbeds. Are these Birkenstocks? Are they a relative of the Birkenstock? Those are a good, important part of a Birkenstock. The footbed, as Lee was, I think, alluding to, you need a solid base. You can't just be strolling around your house. You step on one of your kids' toys, you fall, you hurt yourself. So air is expensive. That's for sure. Go to your local gas station. You got to pay for air these days. Right. Birkenstocks also expensive. $129.
Okay. Price is Right rules, Trey would have just been over, but he's damn close. $99.95, Trey. Yeah, yeah. Should have went with the 95. That's what the Hammacher Schlemmer does. They don't do 99. So yeah, $100 basically.
These are actually looking good to me, Skeets. I'm in the market for some new slippers and 1,000 air bubbles. That's ridiculous. The ones I have now, they've only got like 750 air bubbles. I feel like I can barely even walk.
You know what, though? I'm going to say this. There is a problem with an indoor-outdoor slipper, in my opinion.
Because it's an outdoor slipper.
Exactly. I don't want to go take Luna out for a dump, rocking these slippers. I'm out on the grass, I'm getting dirty. And then what? Then I'm just walking right back into the house? I mean, now I'm just basically wearing shoes in the house. So, but, I don't mind drawing the line like on a porch or something like that. If I'm not going onto grass, then maybe it works. Okay.
You're having your coffee on the porch. It's okay.
That's right. Okay, this next one. Oh, this one's for Trey Kirby. Though he's interested in the slippers. But look at this one, Trey. The fish RC boat. Okay, this 17.5-inch boat, it can catch up to a 2-pound fish, it says. Now, it allows you to troll a patch of water. I've never heard that term. Or position it where a conventional cast can't reach, right? You just send out this little remote control boat and let it do its work, I guess. My favorite part, Trey, I got a question for you. It says it includes a telescoping grapple to fetch the boat. So, am I led to believe the boat catches the fish and then you basically have to catch the boat by bringing it in with this grapple? There's another step. But anyway, what do you think?
It definitely seems like that. So what? You throw out this little remote control boat to a place where for some reason your cast can't reach. You can't get close. You get it out there, you get a nice little fish. Got a little bass jumping out there. Looks great. And then you drive the boat back to you. You use the grapple. You bring in the boat, which has the fish attached to it.
There's no way.
This is baller. This is great. This seems like a very dumb fishing product, which are my favorite kinds. Like, this is going to cost over $200, I would bet, because give me $225 because fishermen are dumb. If you're telling me that this is going to catch more fish, I'm in.
Okay, so $225. Lee, what do you got for this?
I mean, for a boat, I'm guessing.
Well, hold on. I mean, it's not a boat we can sit in.
I know. Yeah. It seems like a gimmick to me. This seems like a real, if you're buying this, you'll buy anything. Slap a big price on it though to maybe make people think it's actually valuable. $300.
Oh wow. Okay, JD.
Yeah, the grappling, the telescoping grappling, it has to be worth $75 alone. So put me down for $325.
Okay, and Tess, what do you got?
Oh yeah, this is quite the device. It requires 6 AA batteries and 1 9-volt. You don't see that too often.
Huh.
That is weird.
$99.90.
$99.90. I'm saying this costs $1,000 basically.
No, $99.90.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, Tass is the closest.
I'm copying the Birkenstock.
You're very close, Tass. This isn't that much, guys, because it's probably a hunk of shit. It's $9.95. That's not bad. $80 for that.
Yeah, it's worth it now that you mention it.
But my number one item from this year's Hammacher Schlemmer catalog, thanks to Brent Ferrari again, vroom vroom. It was his favorite item, and it's mine too. Just because it's so weird. It's the wireless CD player. Yeah. Remember CD players? You still got CDs around? Well, now you have a portable CD player that connects wirelessly to any Bluetooth speaker or a headphone. That's amazing that this is a thing. I guess people do have CDs still lying around. Maybe they're not scratched up enough. So now you can just buy yourself another CD player and connect wirelessly to whatever Bluetooth speaker. So I'm like making fun of this, but if you had CDs lying around and you wanted to play them,
it's hard to find something.
Yeah, it would actually serve a purpose. So I love the little Bluetooth like Wi-Fi symbol there popping out, just so you know it works. Just so you know it's transmitting. What do you got? Tass, I'll start with you on this one. What's the price?
I can see why Brent Ferrari wants this. I guess he doesn't have a CD player in his Ferrari, so he's got to throw this in. Yeah, why not? He can fit it in his 2-seater. It's got to be cheap though, $60.
Okay, Trey.
I don't know, man. This is a ridiculous product. It comes with an aux cable so you can connect it to a car stereo. What car has an aux cable input but not a CD player? I do like that it has anti-skip technology just in case. Oh boy, when you were a high school basketball player, if you had 10 seconds of anti-skip, you're living the life on the bus, bumping that Dr. Dre 2001. I'm with Tass, though. An outdated technology can't be that expensive. $49.99.
Okay. Now, Lee, do you have some CDs kicking around still?
I can't remember the last CD I brought, and I don't remember what decade it would have been in. I certainly haven't bought one since we moved to Atlanta. You know what? I'm wrong. Because in our car, we had a CD player. And one day I was in a gas station or something somewhere, and they had the best of Queen, and I bought that CD. So I do have one CD. Queen's greatest hits or best of, whatever it is there. I've got one CD, so I have use for it. Finally, I have use for it here. But yeah, this has got to be cheap because no one's splurging on this. I'm going to say like $19.99 or $29.99.
Okay. And JD, what do you think, man? You love your audio.
I do love my audio. I only have one CD as well. It's Tinkerbell, a band that I was in. I have one DVD, The Floor, a show that we made, and that's it. But I think there's a market for this for the 70-plus crowd. Okay. So I'm just going to say 69. Nice.
Yeah, nice. Very nice. I like your thinking. Yeah, this magazine, for some reason, I love it, but I think it is, targeted towards older people. This wireless CD player, $99.95.
Wow.
Man, you know what brought back some memories though from this write-up? Compatible with CDR, CDRW, and standard CDs. Oh man, that takes me back.
You know how many hours of music you can put on one of those?
All right, so there it is. Top 5 items for Christmas from the Hammacher Schlemmer catalog. Thank you so much again to Brent for doing a lot of the work there for me, taking all the photos, and he had some other ones too that some we had already actually talked about the year before, some double up items. But thanks, Brent, so much for that. Keep that tradition alive. Come on, Hammacher Schlemmer. I gave you my new address to my new house like months ago. What's going on? Where's my magazine? I tweeted them. They actually responded to me. They said it would be here in 2 weeks. But, all right.
2 weeks away from being 2 weeks away.
Yeah. All right. So we're running long, but who cares? No podcast tomorrow. Lee, let's get to tweet of the night.
Tweet of the night. Wow.
Twitter.
What do you got for us, Lily?
So, yeah, a lot of action out there on the tweets last night. I was like, where am I going to go here? What am I going to do? It's a lot of pressure on the first night tweet, really, because it's like you want it to be sort of fun and entertaining, but you also want it to be something we can maybe talk about.
Sure.
So not those other nights, though. Those other nights, you see the tweets, you're like, as long as it's not the first night of the season, we could just throw out a shit tweet, whatever we want.
Well, this is actually great. I think you'll like this one. Because I'm going to go to you about it. And it comes from Nick DePaula, who tweeted this last night, that number 1 pick Anthony Edwards arrived in Jordans and then played in, I'll say the American way, Adidas last night. Adidas for my homies. Interesting, because there was actually an article Nick wrote about this, how there's a lot of rookies who don't have shoe deals right now. And a lot of that is because obviously there was no March Madness, there was no tournament. And due to the COVID situation, the coronavirus, it's impacted the market significantly. And so teams are sort of waiting really to, I guess, to sort of decide who they're going to offer the big contract, big shoe deals to. So, so that's interesting. And also as well, I think apart from LaMelo Ball, who I do believe has a Puma deal. I believe that's what he signed with. Yeah. There's not a really big marketable guy either. I think that's another reason. You know what I mean? Sure. I don't think like Zion last year was an automatic like, okay, this guy should be a star. But I don't think there's that in this draft. But this is really why I wanted to bring it up. Have you guys ever turned up to basketball in one pair of shoes, one brand, and then played in the other brand?
No, sir.
Well, hold on. What do you mean? Like,
that's what I'm saying.
I've been known to wear a pair of Birkenstocks to the gym before throwing on a pair of Jordans to play.
Yeah, some people have outdoor and indoor slippers.
He's saying to me, like, I'm wearing Jordans because obviously you want to attract the Jordan brand, but these are my casual wear. When I'm on the court, I prefer Adidas, is what he's saying. So he's more saying Adidas, give me the big bucks from you guys. But Jordans are cool because you can wear them as fashion shoes. You can't really wear Adidas the same way as Jordan. I mean, there's no other basketball shoe you can wear quite as casually as Jordans. I wouldn't think.
Okay.
Jordans.
Agree with that.
You could get married in Jordans. I mean,
for sure. The 11s, no doubt.
But I do like it. It's pretty smart to, he could have easily showed up in a Jordan and then gone and played in a Nike, but now he's covering all his bases. He's saying, hey, I'll wear an Adidas to the game and play in an Adidas. I'll wear a Jordan to the game and play in a Jordan. Whoever's got that bag, holler at me. After the first night, looking like a Jordan.
Yeah. Has any player, Trey, that you can remember ever played in one shoe that was Nike and one shoe that was Adidas? Ooh.
It's definitely possible. I don't know about during a game, but I remember there was a season in between when Kobe Bryant was with Adidas and when he eventually signed with Nike, and he was just wearing basically whatever shoe he wanted. Same with Gilbert Arenas. He played in a pair of Dolce & Gabbana at one point. So those guys, maybe, when you're in between shoe deals, you're like, I'll just wear whatever I want.
Wasn't Luka doing that too before he
was taking some turns last year, switching between Jordans and Under Armour back in the day.
He's Jumpman, isn't he? Is he Jumpman?
Yeah.
He is now, for sure. All right, great tweet, Lee. What a start. Now you can mail it in for the rest of the season. Justin, here we come. All right, let's get to pick 'em results from last night. It was the Mavericks-Suns game. We all took the Suns. It was really boring. They were favored by 1.5, but guess what? We were all right. We were all correct. What'd they win by? 4 in the end.
Yeah.
Right? So pretty close, just covered, but hey, that's a win for your boys. So we're all 1-0 here to start our new pick 'em payoff battle. But Tass, there's no games on today because it's Christmas Eve. Good. So freaking weird to me. Tomorrow's Christmas though. We got 5 games on, so I'm sure we have the lines for those games. So which one are we picking?
We do. Picking a real tough one. The Denver Nuggets hosting the Clippers. Rematch of round number 2. The Clippers gave up that 3-1 lead. So will they be ready to play? Of course, but they're coming off a win while the Nuggets are coming off a loss. Opening night, the Clippers beat the Lakers. The Nuggets, that tough loss to the Kings. So this is not an easy pick. I'll start us off. I'm taking the Clippers. I think that that revenge factor will be enough to get them the W.
Clippers are favored by 1.5, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, on the road. Yeah, that actually is a real thing this year. I'm also taking LA because I've been saying it for the last little bit. I think the Clippers are going to send that message. Oh, you gave us the Lakers and the Nuggets. Oh, hardy har har NBA. Well, we're 2-0, baby. So I'll take LA to cover 2. Lily?
Yeah, I'm going the same. I feel that the Clippers are we've got to get this one. There's the revenge factor there. And I think it's going to be pretty tight though, but I'm going the Clippers.
Uh-oh. Trey, where are you going?
Bounce back game for Jamal Murray.
There we go.
Nikola Jokic pounds him inside. Shout out to Big Smooth. I'm taking the Nuggets. And I might stay up for that game. The late game on Christmas? Woo! That's a big ask, buddy.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right, Trey? I heard you guys talking about this before we started the podcast. A lot of us, we can't go home or we can't travel where we usually travel for the holidays, trying to keep it safe, obviously. Well, you know what? As much as you'll miss your family and stuff like that, the traveling, the bouncing around from holiday party to holiday party can be exhausting. So you're all tuckered out by the late game on Christmas.
True. That's a good point.
Now you're at home. You're obviously getting up early and opening gifts, but you're going to be a little more energized, I think, because you're not going to be doing a million things.
You're 100% right, Skeets. This is the first time I'm going to have home court advantage for Christmas, and I'm excited to see how it pays off.
I'm excited to see what you can do with it, man. Really, You're already better than the Bulls, in my opinion. We're going to call it there, though, guys. We will be back on Saturday, Boxing Day. Do they call it Boxing Day in America, or is that a Canadian thing?
No. Americans are like, what the is that? The Brits and the Aussies know about it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Boxing Day, the 26th. We'll be back on Saturday morning around 10 a.m. on YouTube Live to recap the 5 Christmas Day games and any of the big news. So join us then, because there are no games on today. So we'll be taking Christmas off from podcasting. We'll be watching all the games, and we'll be back on Saturday. Subscribe, like, comment, yada, yada, yada. Do what you got to do. Email in your questions and comments, nodunks@theathletic.com. We'll be stepping on the beach next week, so get your cues in. Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Thanks for joining us here today. Stay safe, and again, we'll see you on Saturday, Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, Hammacher Schlemmer really knows how to suck the Louis DeJoy out of the holidays.
Embrace Christmas Eve, people.